Welcome everybody to the MiniMapCast. This is minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast, your favorite weekly games podcast. My name is Kerry Palmer. Joining me is Jeremy Braditich.
Hello. As the music was panning up and down, the cat went meow, which was very funny.
Griffin started screaming right outside my door.
And that did come through, which is very funny.
I just sat here. I just sat here shaking my head.
Yeah. I can't see you when I bring the thing down, because I just watch you through the stream.
Yeah.
And so I assumed you were reacting to it, but I didn't know.
I could see you laughing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, bloody hell. It was like she stopped now too. She did it twice and then she's done. Anyway. It's Jeremy, we survived PAX.
Yeah.
It was a great time. PAX Aus 2023. I said this to you at the end of yesterday. Thank you for dragging me down there, despite my reticence, my reluctance.
Yeah, it's like the best weekend.
The best weekend. I don't know. You're about to have three pretty I don't know. You're gonna see Jamiroquai in a couple of weekends.
Oh, like that'll be great. Don't get me wrong, that'll be great. But like, it's like the like, you know, it's a 3-day weekend of some of like the coolest people, some like incredible games, some wonderful friends,
new friends.
Yep, new friends, old friends, and
drinks.
just a touch of alcohol occasionally, and not enough coffee, just overall, just in general. I didn't drink nearly as much coffee as I should have, and I would have felt better if I did, but that's okay.
Well, yeah, Saturday. So yeah, the way PAX went for us on Monday, we went Friday, first day.
Should I do my entire games week?
Oh God, I don't know. Should you?
So last Sunday,
yeah,
I went to sorry, yeah, that's right. Yes, last Sunday I went to the opening night of Melbourne International Games Week, which was just a get together, like a fun gathering at Fortress, which was fine. And then I left relatively early because I moved house that next day. And then that day, I then got invited to go to a party.
Jeremy, that seems like 400 years ago.
I know, right? Then I moved house, and then I was going to go to a thing that night, and then I decided against it. And then the next day, we recorded the podcast. And then on Wednesday was the only day of work that I went to last week. And then Thursday was Parallels, which was as incredible as it always is. Some of the best talks, some hilarious talks from people like Ali McLean-Hennessy and Jacob Janerka, and the folks over at Fuzzy Ghost. Really, really awesome stuff. And then Friday was the first day of PAX. And then Saturday and Sunday was PAX. And
in terms of our energy levels, I think we hit Friday pretty good. I think we did a good Friday. You know, we used our media hour to get to all the AAA games that were going to be really busy through the weekend.
Yep.
And then we recorded some videos. We did our first stab at live produced video content on the show floor.
A lot of immediate learnings.
A lot of learnings.
Yeah,
and you can see those learnings happen in real time on the MiniMap YouTube channel, where our Mario Wonder preview is live right now. I actually need to press go live on our like a dragon guide review. Like a guide drag guide, and that's good enough. Send that.
Like I forgot I wrote a preview at PAX and published it. Like I forgot all about that.
Yeah, you did that on Friday?
Yeah.
So right now on our YouTube channel, we've got 2 video previews up. We've got a third going up for Prince of Persia. Our 2 are already up for Like a Dragon Gaiden and Super Mario Brothers Wonder. And for the first video, it's just out of focus.
It's fine. It's
audio.
Fine.
Audio, it's a bit hot, honestly.
Yeah. The second video, audio's a bit hotter, but doesn't matter. Or the second day recap, but it's fine. There's a lot of things that next year it can be even fucking better.
And the videos are still okay. Like,
yeah, totally.
We wouldn't publish them if they were garbage.
Yeah.
And we also we cut them down into TikTok, so those have been up on the TikTok. They've been doing great. But we hit Tuesday, Jeremy. No. Fucking hell, I really feel like PAX was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, don't I?
I do not know why.
We hit Saturday, day 2.
Yeah.
And
like
you and I went out for drinks. Like a dragon.
No, like a truck.
Like a truck.
Yeah, we hit it like a truck.
We hit it like a truck. We sure did, because we went out for drinks on Friday night, got home a bit late, started the day. Well, it was meant to be a bit early. We both got there late.
Yeah.
I had lost my voice because I was talking in a pub all night.
Yeah.
And had like 5 hours sleep. You didn't have coffee till like 1:45.
Yeah.
That day was rough, and it got to like 2:20 for me, and I was on the floor, and it was so busy, and I couldn't get close to any booths, and I ran away, and I just sat in the media room and sat on Premiere on your laptop for like 3 hours.
Sometimes that's just what you got to do, and that's okay. That's
and it
fine.
was okay.
Yeah,
and I'm glad I had that option too. I wouldn't have had that option without a media badge. So
yeah.
Thank God for that. And then Friday, you and I both got just so much more sleep, and Friday.
Saturday.
Sunday, the third day, day 3.
Saturday we got a lot of sleep. Sunday we came at it like ready to go, raring,
refreshed.
Yes.
So overall, it was a lovely time, a great time.
Yeah.
I'm glad we went. We've got a bunch of people who we met in the chat hanging out with us, people we met for the first time, people who I met for the first time, other people as well. It's great. We met so many people, new friends and old. I can't wait to go over the whole show, and that's what today's episode is about.
I also genuinely just can't wait to do it all again next year. Like I am so excited to do that all again with the same and different people, and new games. It's the best. It's the best.
I'm very also excited to see everyone's stuff, like a bunch of people doing cool stuff this weekend, and it'll be going live over the course of the week. That's the same with us. Got another preview to go up. 2 previews, actually. 1 video, 1 written for on my side. And everyone else is making awesome content on the show floor. So yeah, let's get into it. We'll get through the rigmarole here, and then we'll dive right into what the weekend was like, because it didn't start on Monday.
Oh, for some people it started on Monday. If you went to GCAP, for you, it started on Monday.
Yeah, but PAX didn't.
No. But the games a week it's a big week.
Oh yeah, no, it is. You see, The thing is though, I'm talking about Friday as if it was Monday, which is just false.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
I don't know what that's about. So anyway, let's get started. Everyone, thank you for joining us. This is the MiniMapCast. This is minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast. You can find this podcast on any podcast platform of your choice, also on YouTube and our website every Wednesday, with 24 hours of early access given to all of our wonderful patrons. More on that in just a second. If you like what you're hearing, make sure to tell your friends, give the show a positive rating wherever you're listening to us. Makes a huge difference, and it only takes a few seconds of your time. So yeah, if you've got the time and the inclination, that would be great. If you want to get notified every time a new episode is released, you can follow us on social media. We are at MiniMapAU. That's the name of the accounts. It is always at MiniMapAU on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, and also Twitch, where we are live every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time right now. For the live recording of the MiniMapCast, we're live right now, sitting here with the chat, hanging out in the pre-show, the post-show, in the break. It's a great time. So if you're free on a Monday night, come and hang out with us. We wanted to say thank you to Shook for letting us use the Moog Model D Improv as the music for the MiniMapCast. You can listen to more of Shook's music at shook.bandcamp.com. Now, we don't even have time to talk about Bandcamp this week. And finally, MiniMap is completely independent and funded almost entirely out of our own pockets. So if you'd like to help us keep the mics on and the cameras in focus, you can support us by becoming one of our patrons. For only $5 a month, you'll get 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the MiniMapCast, some extra bonus features that we've got going over there as well, like some press conference watch-alongs from years gone past, and more. We're going to be doing more of that in about a month's time when Jeremy's back from all of his busyness. So look out for that there. Where is there? Good. Thanks for asking. That's over on patreon.com/minimapau. And remember to support us over there. It's cheaper than a latte with oat milk.
I thought you meant like back from his month and you were like but they're implying the location where I'm going. And you were like,
back from there.
Well, yeah, because I thought that's what you meant, and then you were like, "Where is there?"
Here's Jeremy's hotel number.
Well, no, like I was expecting you to just say like Sydney and Adelaide, but like you then said Patreon, and I was like, "Wait, oh, right, okay, I know. I've now caught up with what you were talking about."
Yeah, sorry.
The moment you go off track, like my ears perk up as if I've heard like a sound that I'm not expecting, and I'm like, "Wait, hang on a minute. Like, wait, what are you saying?"
That's good intel. I have to keep that in mind. So we've got a bit of a loose format here for what we're going to run through. Overall, it was a great time.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much of anyone getting sick, really.
Like some people are sick, but I don't know who's got COVID. So like, I think
no, totally. Someone had food poisoning. We were talking about them in chat before, buddy. So I hope you're feeling better now that you're home, buddy. But yeah, it seems like everyone was pretty sensible. Weren't many masks, but there were some, and I would say it was still quite busy, but comfortable.
Yeah, like you're not like there are some areas which are well, actually, like here's something that was interesting to talk about. Is that like from my understanding, this was the most amount of people that have been to PAX Australia ever. Over the weekend.
Whoa.
That my understanding of this is that they have sold the most amount of tickets they've ever sold.
That kind of blows my mind. It did not feel as busy as that.
So what I think they've done is I think they've adjusted part of the location of some of the booths.
Yep.
And which
I think there's also less booths too.
Well, so I think that might be the case. What might have happened is that a lot of the really intense areas where they know that people are going to be doing things like giveaways and they grab everybody together, those used to be in the exact center laneway between the front queue hall and the tabletop area. But those were shoved further down, closer against the wall. And so you weren't getting sardines of people thrown into the exact
sardine people.
Yeah. You weren't getting that like shoved directly into the center like usually were. And so I think people actually had more room to move around. For the first time in a very long time, the indie area had changed shape a bit.
Yeah, I felt it was larger, a bit more sprawling this time.
Yeah. And they also put the merch booth near the queue hall, which I didn't like at all. But like, I hope they move that back to where it was the last time, which was sort of closer to where the tabletop area is, because that's a much better area for indies, I think, being right next to the front door.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense of how like the indies took up a lot of that front space, but then they sort of inched out up around that booth. Like they went a bit further in and around it than I was used to. And they were probably booked to be in that. Or maybe they wanted, because those ones that went further around are the ones that had the much larger marquees with the 4 wide ones. Maybe they wanted more of that space.
Well, those were the ones that won the indie showcase and were a part of PAX Rising. And as a part of that, you get like a bigger area, is my understanding. And so, but yeah, like I think that like that merch booth area needs to not be there and needs to be out of the way of the front door for indies. I feel at least. Also, it was really dark there as well, and so it just made that like
so dark.
Yeah, like that merch booth was not vibing.
No, there's also nothing to pick up on the floor. It was just a big long queue inside a box.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway.
But yeah, like my understanding is that there was the largest PAX Australia they've ever had, which is like very exciting. Because I was talking to some people as the weekend closed out, and we were sort of going like, you know, like we were taking the temperature of the week, and about how like last year felt very much like okay, like we've been away for 2 years, like. Let's sort of just bring everything back and see what works was kind of the play last year. And it did work. But everyone was like, more than anything, everybody was happy that things were back, which was good. But then this year felt very much like, okay, like let's make this week better. Let's see what works last year and change it, make it better, have different things, have more things.
Well, Jeremy, you were there last year and I wasn't. How did you feel about it this year compared to last?
It did feel better this year. There was a little bit more known quantities, I think, in some of the, like a lot of the big indie games that were there last year were also there this year. Granted, with a
lot of people said that, like, oh yeah, we were here last year. I was like, oh okay.
Yeah, like with a larger presence, definitely. Like those like larger indie games, in terms of larger being like more well known, more popular, more like
maybe higher budget, or
more like not even higher budget, but just people are very excited for these ones. Like ones like Dungeon Experience and Dark Web Streamer, for example.
Yep.
They had bigger booths this year. Whereas last year it was Dungeon Experience was not there last year, but they were just sort of being more found last year. So there was a bit more like, I know some of that area, but the bigger booths would then allow those games which are more well known, and for people who didn't come last year to actually get into there and play them more. And I'd be around there, talk to the developers. Whereas, like New Blood, for example, they always have like their big double booth like they did this year. Broken Roads has like another one. But what was different this year was that the New Zealand area was much bigger than what it was last year.
That was such a cool zone. And I don't know how they would do it any differently, but basically they weren't in the indie section, but they booked a whole booth area for themselves and sort of brought together as many developers as they could, or who made the cut. I don't know how it worked for them, but they brought 20 games, or was it 16? I think it was 20. I think it was 20. It was 4x5, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
20 games, all from New Zealand, all made in New Zealand, in this one booth area. And there was some cool shit in there.
Yeah, like really cool. Like it was run by Code NZ, I believe is the I'm not sure what it's called. The group, the company that's running it.
The organizers.
Yeah. They were around last year. But like I think that realistically they need more space next year. Like they
absolutely
like
double, I would say.
Yeah, maybe. Like,
well, I don't think they'll get that, but like they would have done well with it.
They had a ton of really incredible games. And this isn't even like, like I'm not saying that like this was their fault. Like they could do what they could do. But the games and like the quality of the games that were there, the amount of games that were there, deserves more space. Because there was like there was 4 games basically per line. And like there was about like 8 or 9 or like I think like 8 tables or so. You need to like get in the middle of it to actually play them, and it was so cramped. It's a shame because there was some really cool games in there.
If you had a bag on, like you would it was like impossible.
Yeah, like really difficult, right? So like hopefully next year they come around with some more games, because there was some really awesome stuff there. Some of that stuff we'll get through. Some of that stuff we will get to a little bit later in the show. So, Kerry.
I'm doing the thing you're doing.
I know. Takes so much longer. How did you feel about being back at PAX?
Well, it's been...
How did you feel about being back at PAX with some back at PAX?
Backpacks with back at PAX? It was... I alluded to this at the start of the show. I was reluctant to sign up to come this year. I've been generally fairly COVID wary as a rule over the last few years. And a convention is like, it's probably the most intense single thing you could do in terms of being around thousands of other people who have just traveled with thousands of other people from many different places in many different forums inside trains, planes. Like it's such a, if anything's going to spread, it's going to be there. Which is why, people always talk about like the PAX pox, they always come back with colds. So that was my sort of background leading into this. But I'm glad I didn't go last year because, it did sound like it was a bit smaller, a bit kind of stranger, a bit more getting back on its feet after being on hiatus for so long. Coming back to this and this feeling so normal was great. You know, there wasn't an Xbox presence or a Sony presence or a Square Enix presence, or, you know, there were a lot of the big players missing, but there were enough there for it to feel like the show was still alive and still had plenty of options. Yeah. And it left more room for other cool things. Like there were plenty of PC pre-builders that had heaps of space, like Aftershock and BPC Tech, and that meant there was so many cool computers on show and awesome monitors, and LG had a whole area and MSI had a whole area. Like I think it was a really good balance of what they had on the show floor this year. And then you look over the Nintendo booth and it was always busy, always had a line for Mario. There were always people playing Prince of Persia and the Pokemon DLC somehow. Yeah. Like it felt good. I don't know how to say that. And like I said before, when you said it was maybe the most that they've sold, that surprises me because it just didn't feel as dense. I remember feeling like I really had to like squeeze past people at like PAX 2018, 2019. Like it would get close at times, especially on the Saturday. And it just wasn't that this time, which was great.
Well, they also have, like they've got more stuff happening in the other building. They've got like the tabletop area this year was fucking popping off. It was, there was a tremendous amount of things happening down there.
There was. When I went there on Sunday, day 3.
Yeah.
When I went there on Sunday, I didn't know what I was expecting because I've been there in the past, and I think usually it's been more full of other the merchandise people who are selling in tabletop booths, and that kind of goes for ages the previous years, and that's all kind of stuff that doesn't really interest me. That seemed a bit smaller this year, which left a lot more room for the free play tabletop area, the tabletop campaign setup areas where people can just go. I remember just walking past, and there are kids, there's people in cosplay, there's just families and friends, and they're all just doing their own campaigns. Like it's lovely, and like even though it's loud, they're all smiling, and they're like, "Oh, what do you think about this situation?" I'm like, "This is great." Same with the free play tabletop area, people playing cards, and people in the console free play area, and then the PC free play area, which had more than 100 PCs like set up and provided by Intel. And you were guaranteed a 45-minute slot on those PCs when you lined up at like 45 minutes minimum. You might get longer there, which is great for people who don't get that opportunity at any other time. Also, like Tekken 8 was there for some reason, which was not advertised. Like the only reason I knew that was because there was a little cardboard sign on top of the marketing standee. Like someone had just drawn a cardboard sign and said it was like Tekken 8 with an arrow this way, just in like pen. It was like, what the fuck is this? Sure enough, there was Tekken, not over there, not near Sega and Nintendo or the indies in the gaming area. It was on the other fucking side of the planet. In the other room. But yeah, that whole second half was wonderful, and a lot of people were saying that it's a great vibe over there, because that half of the show floor stays open after 6 p.m., whereas the booths with all of the game demos and the tech and the stages doesn't stay open. And people, you could stay there till like 10 p.m. and people stay playing games and catching up with people. Like I could see myself spending a lot more time there if I wasn't so heavily invested in the video gaming side of the event.
Yeah, right.
And I love that that's there for those people. PAX is incredible for how many different slices of nerd culture they take under their wing and service so faithfully. You know, it's you don't see, like, Comic-Con is different in that way, and you know, something like Summer Games Fest is different in that way. This can be so big and catered to so many of those audiences so well and so almost dedicatedly that you can spend 3 days there and just focus on cosplay the whole time and never be bored. Like, that's incredible. Like, that you can spend that much time and just be there for tabletop, or just go to panels and talks, or just do the game stuff. It's wild.
Yeah. And like, there's also like a ton of just like, people can come to PAX and have a really nice time and not even enter the show floor as well. Like there's a ton of stuff to do like around the outskirts of it. There's a lot of people like doing cosplay photo shoots and you know, like playing fucking Just Dance. You know, you can just watch that happening. Like,
still.
Yeah, like they don't like that. You're allowed to walk around in that area if you want. So it's cool that there is so much to do. And on top of that, there were a couple of other events happening around the city as well, which I didn't even get a chance to go to. Like there was a Massive Monster had a pop-up store. The people who
they also did a rave on Fed Square on Thursday night.
On Thursday night, yeah, I was there very briefly. There was also something happening down in Northcote as well. Like there was stuff happening in the periphery that is also just like part of the whole week, but happening at the same time as PAX, which is really cool.
So yeah, it was great to be back. It was great to see it sort of return to what I knew it as, knowing that it had a couple of awkward years in the middle there. I mean, we all did during COVID. That was how that worked.
Yeah.
But let's talk over. So Jeremy, this was not your first year as media for MiniMap, but this was mine, and it was our first together.
Yeah.
And it was very fun to cover PAX as MiniMap for MiniMap. Part of how we did that was we had access to the media hour where we were let in 1 hour earlier than the general public to the show floor, which meant we could do whatever there. But we chose to use that time to spend time with Super Mario Brothers Wonder, with Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, which I always forget that we played somehow, and Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name. We were trying to play Sonic, but all of the Sega booth was having trouble. Like, only one of their consoles was working.
Yeah.
For Sonic, so they couldn't get people in. We pivoted and went to Like a Dragon, and then my booth crapped out anyway. So what we're going to do, like I mentioned before, we produced video content from the show floor. 2 of those games that we played there and that I just mentioned, we have video previews for live right now on the YouTube channel. That's at MiniMapAU on YouTube. You can find video previews there for Mario Wonder, Like a Dragon Gaiden. Prince of Persia will be out tomorrow. But we'll gloss over some of our thoughts of them now as part of our sort of holistic PAX wrap-up. Starting with Mario. So, Jeremy, what did you think of Super Mario Brothers Wonder?
It was really fucking good. It was really, really fucking good. I remember playing, going like, "There's a fucking like another one of these games," but it feels different. It feels like modern in a weird way, like the way like the there's transitions in between the different like levels, and the way the world map is a little bit different as well. It feels like that they are sort of like it feels like Mario, right? It feels like a really like classic Mario game, but it also feels like the next step in that lineage, right? Like,
yeah,
you know,
how do you refresh 2D Mario while making it still 2D Mario?
But also like give it like the next stage of its art style, right? Its next feeling of Mario is now going to look like this, with things like, you know, like I remember when the new Super Mario Bros. Game came out on DS and then on the Wii. Like that art style was kind of
back when you were 6.
Yeah, like that game was kind of boring to look at, and that art style, like I don't know anyone that loves that art style. Like it's fine, it's just pretty uninteresting.
Yeah, and they ran with it for 15 years
for a very long time, and like things changed here and there. In Super Smash Brothers Brawl, they gave him denim, and he looks a bit different in Odyssey and Galaxy. It's like ever so slightly.
Oh yeah. But you're right. It was sort of the new Super Mario Brothers brand was sort of using that 3D style that they codified in the earlier series, and then it was everywhere. Yeah, that's a good point.
Whereas Wonder feels and looks different and much more artistic. A
very
lot
distinctive.
Yeah, very distinctive, and I'm very much looking forward to when the 3D games also adopt this art style as well. If they do, I hope they do, because you could make some really, really stunning looking games. But actually getting to play it on a TV directly in front of me, with a bunch of other people, it was really awesome. It was like really fucking fun. It felt chaotic, like multiplayer Mario games does, but I still knew what was going on. There was a lot of really wonderful, hilariously, like little moments in that game when we were actually playing it, like getting different abilities and all that stuff. I just thought it was fucking cool. It looks really fucking cool. It is really fun to play.
Yeah, totally. And, I went into the demo not feeling like I haven't been very excited by this game. I was just sort of been a bit, not hesitant, but it just a bit like unconvinced, right? Just like not against it, just a bit like I need to play this to know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And I definitely enjoyed my time. I really liked it. And I found myself surprised and excited multiple times. And we just played for 15 minutes with randoms as well. But there were a number of times where I was like, whoa, or like finding little details, like the way they go into and out of pipes. Like it's just animated more differently and it's cute. And and there's lots of little things. There's flowers that talk to you and they're all smiling the whole time. And like, I don't know, it's just cute and nice and fun and surprising.
Yeah.
I showed Mum one of the videos that we put up for Mario. And she was like, you know what? I'd love to play that with you. That looks like a great time. I was like, great. Sounds like a plan. And like, I don't remember the last time I played a game with my mum. Like it was probably 15 years ago. And I don't remember what it was because she just doesn't really do that. Like, and so it was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
the game's just nice.
Like families are going to like eat this game up, but also it's going to be nice for basically everybody. Like it's not a thing that I think anyone is going to be put off by because it is just so fun to look at. It's just visually like enticing as all hell. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. So like I said, we've got those other previews there. You can find cut down versions of them on TikTok and on YouTube to see our full thoughts. Also on the website, they'll all be up on the website, minimap.com.au. But yeah, we'll go to Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown next. This was like, we were excited to play this because it's looked great every time they've shown it off. But man, it felt great too when we got hands on. It felt good.
Yeah. This might be my game.
Like picking this up day one, kind of.
Yeah, like this might be my game of the show. Like I still haven't figured it out if it is or not because I got to go through my thoughts on a handful of other games which I'll get to later in the show. But this was one of the few games. Well, like not one of the few games, but one of the games that most of all made me want to just continue playing right then and there. Like I just wanted to continue.
Yeah, no, totally.
Even if it was in the middle of PAX, I would have loved to have just continued to play that game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was
and great. It left me conflicted on whether I wanted to play it on Switch or other consoles because it was beautiful and I wanted to see that vibrance in like maybe a high definition format, but also it ran so smoothly in handheld on the Switch. It ran butter smooth.
Oh my god, doesn't it just? And like it also feels so responsive, like so responsive.
Yeah.
I want to play more.
It felt clean. It was colorful. Yep. It was like imaginative in its combat, in its level design. It felt like it honored what Prince of Persia was. Like, there were times I was jumping on beams and onto the platforms and I'm like, oh, this is modern, but this feels like a Prince of Persia platform from like the DOS game right now.
There were times where I was like hitting like a little object that was floating, and when I hit it, like part of the level background and foreground like went backwards in time and then became a level I could explore again. And like I've never even played a Prince of Persia game, but I know that's the thing, that's the shit.
Oh
that's that game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you go back to like Sands of Time on PS2, which is the one I'm most familiar with.
Yeah.
And that had, that was where their whole deal was rewinding time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is great to see parts of that in here as well in their abilities. And yeah, like you said, in those crystals you break that reform the level. It's so beautiful that we have to talk about, like, the combat is great and it's actually quite difficult, like kind of Hollow Knight like kind of style of difficulty.
Yes, yeah.
Like it is punishing if you're not prepared for it. But something they give you is a parry. And then they let those enemies come at you really hard. And if you get those difficult parries just right, you get rewarded with the slickest animation you ever did see.
Yeah. And
it feels amazing. And it makes me want to do it every single time.
Yeah.
Like, it's outrageous. And we said this in our preview, but it feels very inspired by Metroid Dread in a great way.
Yep.
So yeah. Next up, we played Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, or as Jeremy and I have been typing it out to each other, that's LADG:TMWEH.
You say typing it out to each other as if I have ever said that to you.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It has all been you to me.
Well, I mean, what do you? I mean, I'm like, yeah, it's what we've been saying together with each other.
It's this game's cool. It's another one, but like it's cool.
Yeah, no, totally. This was a one that I heard of, and I'm like, that's strange. But you know, you've got the Yakuza games 0 through to 6 that are all that classic brawling style. You've got Like a Dragon 7, which is what they're all going to be called now, Like a Dragon, which is what it used to be called in Japan. Has always been called in Japan, which is turn-based. And they've said the Like a Dragon mainline games are all going to be turn-based from now on. But the Judgment games, their spin-off detective series, is where that brawling style of gameplay is going to live. And then they just gave the main character from the Yakuza games his own spin-off series so that he could do some more brawling on his own, which I think is very funny.
It is very funny.
But yeah, we had a great time with this. The demo doesn't really give you any story, and we haven't really watched the trailers, so we're not up on that.
We did both skip the cutscene.
I didn't skip the cutscene.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay, I did.
Yeah, no, I didn't, and it doesn't give you that much.
Yeah, right.
All I know is like he is not using his normal name. He's not Kazuma Kiryu. Is not being Kazuma Kiryu. He's pretending to be someone else for a while.
Gotcha.
And it they just kind of let you loose on this like tiny boat island, like casino resort in a shipping container, like freighter.
Yeah.
It's really strange, but yeah, it's basically we just got to fight a bunch of goons for a while. I didn't get as much as I wanted because like I said, my booth malfunctioned towards the end. But yeah, it's a really good continuation of the Like a Dragon saga. And if you like Kazuma and you like those brawling games, I think it seems like this is going to be right up your alley.
Yeah. Also, the fucking powers are so funny, and it like all of the fucking the various Colosseum fights, which have many characters all at once. Also very funny.
Yeah, which are both new to the series. Like Kazuma can like whip people with like energy whips and like throw drones at people and like equip like Ratchet and Clank rocket boosters on his feet, like everyone's just accepting it and it's fine.
Yeah,
it's hilarious and very fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't necessarily know how to recommend this to anyone if they're not already into this franchise. I don't know if this is going to be a good one for that or not. I think like maybe it will be because like he's like Kazuma's been in 7 like Yakuza games, and this one he's left his old life behind. So maybe this is a good one to jump in on. But
yeah,
if you're in for a silly time, that's wild. We were talking to someone, Kieran from the Explosion Network on Friday, and he was talking about how he wanted to do some of the wilder stuff that they do, like the cabaret and all of the silly mini games. And he ended up accidentally on like dates with escorts that this game has, and for some reason this game has like FMV like dates with like they just filmed women.
God, that was so funny hearing this happen.
And he said he was like he couldn't exit out of it, and he's there like watching videos of these dolled up women like give him drinks and like sit there on the couch and I'm like, oh, that does sound incredibly awkward.
It was so
and I saw footage
funny
of it in the trailers. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
That's so fucking funny, him just in that demo, just not able to actually leave it.
How do I get out?
It's like the when Smithers goes to the strip club and is like all the sexy men are dancing and he's like this.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a weird holdover. I don't trust RGG Studios with their depiction of women for the most part. And that is a perfect example of why. But it does lead to a very funny anecdote from the weekend. Jeremy, I'd love to, before we go to the break, I would love to hear your thoughts on Sonic Superstars. I didn't get to play, but you went in and did on Sunday. How was it?
It's pretty good. Yeah, like it's pretty good. It feels like, how do I put this? It kind of feels like the new Super Mario Bros. Version of old Sonic, like that kind of adjacency where it's like,
right,
you know, like to what New Super Mario Bros. Is to Mario.
Yeah.
Sonic Superstars is to Sonic the Hedgehog, where
I thought Sonic Generations was that, where they had like, oh no, because that was like old and new styles together.
So I think this has that as well, but like the demo I played doesn't have that. But my understanding is this has
like some 3D run forward levels.
Well, so like it definitely has that, but it's different. Those are like, imagine a big 3D space without a floor, and all of the little orbs that you would be picking up, you're in 3D space, but you are like grappling to them and swinging forward, even though the camera is only behind you. And
that's fun.
Yeah, like it's different, but it feels fun. Like it was fun. Those side levels were fun. Like the visual fidelity of the game was quite good. I was playing it on, I think, an Xbox or a PlayStation. I don't remember. It looks good. It played pretty well. It sounded good. I don't know. Like I had a good time playing the Sonic the Hedgehog game.
Great.
It is Sonic the Hedgehog gameplay. Like we know what that is.
Is it better?
Fans of Sonic the Hedgehog will be very happy with this Sonic the Hedgehog video game. If you don't like Sonic the Hedgehog gameplay, this is not going to be one that is going to be like, hell yeah, this is the one for me.
Roger that.
Yeah, no, like
message received.
Yeah, like
logging off.
if you enjoyed Sonic Mania, you will have a good time in this.
I should play that.
Sonic Mania is incredible. And I don't even love Sonic gameplay. Like, I think it's fine, but I don't love it.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, totally.
This was fun, and you can choose between Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles.
Is Knuckles a vet in this one?
Probably. You can't sleep with Knuckles' wife. But like the vet thing. They did play differently, and there were 2 different levels that I got to play in the demo. There was like a regular like Green Hill Zone, and then there was like a jungle level. They do like the loop-de-loop stuff, but they also do like cylinders that you can then run up in that 3D space.
Like the camera like pans around or something.
No. Like the camera stays sideways, but like you are still running like.
Right.
Yeah, like a sideways cylinder. There also were times where you would get thrown to the background part of the level as well, which was quite cool. So it gave you that like more level to explore in the same space, and then you would often then. Like, usually that would be more of a way to get to another part of the foreground level, but there were still things to explore in the background part of it. It's good. It's good.
Great.
I hit Dr. Eggman 4 times, and then
one.
And then his robot that we've seen a trillion times flew away, as it does.
Classic.
Like it was. I was like, this is the Eggman fight. I know. Like, I've done this. I cannot tell you how many times.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't even enjoy Sonic, and I've done that. I don't know how many times.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you play as Lego Sonic?
No, that was not in the demo.
On the show floor, they had on the side of the booth there is a version of Sonic in this game that is just literally made out of Lego, like Lego TM, like branded, like not like blocks, like literally Lego Sonic.
Yeah.
And they had like I don't know about life size, but a big like Lego Sonic on the show floor, like there, like mid run, and it was probably like 140 centimeters tall.
Yeah, it was tall. Yeah, they would have been like maybe like 10,000
and detailed.
Yeah, really good.
So that was fun. I kind of wish I got in a photo with that just because it was just generally impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it for our AAA game thoughts. There really weren't that many other AAA games there except for Tekken over in the console free play area that I only found on Sunday. But am I missing anything, Jeremy, in terms of AAA? Was there anything we missed that wasn't these? I don't think so.
Like there was the Pokemon DLC which we didn't bother playing.
No.
But that was basically it.
It's also out already.
Oh, is it really? Is it really?
Yeah, it came out like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they said it's bad. It performs worse.
Right. Okay. I thought it was.
That's part of why I was like, why are people playing this? Because like the reviews came out for it like 2 weeks ago, and the people are like, it runs worse than the main game did 12 months ago.
There you go.
So yeah, that's why I was like, why is anybody bothering? Although I guess it's like a nice way to try it before buying it if you are that keen on it. And like it's Pokemon. There were people playing it all weekend. So
yeah. I wouldn't say it's a nice way to play it, but
no, but it's a nice way to try it without buying it first.
Yeah,
like,
I guess.
Yeah, it's not like there's a demo for DLC. So yeah, we're going to throw it to a break now. And when we come back, we'll talk all about our thoughts in the indie section, which is where we spent the vast majority of our time, I would say. And if we have time at the end, I'll share my thoughts on Assassin's Creed Mirage with my time with it, which is quite a bit. So yeah, stick around. We're going to a break. So if you're live with us, stick around and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the MiniMapCast. We realized during the break that we're only recording half of the show's formats for that first half, but it should be fine. So don't worry about it. We've got the recording on Twitch.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Just a weekend of professionalism is what this weekend was, Jeremy. An exercise in professionalism. Like how I just posted a tweet for our Like a Dragon Gaiden preview, and I wrote, instead of the man who erased his name, I wrote the man who erased his name.
I'm gonna share with you now, Kerry, the reply to that tweet, which is I said it's Kerry Palmer, the man who erased his typo, which is very funny. Let's talk about
very good.
Let's talk about some indies.
Hell yeah! We spent so much time here, partially because they were so busy all weekend at PAX. It was great. Like I didn't see an empty booth until after 4 p.m. on Sunday. Honestly.
Yeah, right.
And like, I love that because I know how much it takes for studios to get going in one of those booths, how much money it costs and the setup and the time and the energy and getting a build ready. Like, and I've barely been a part of one of those systems before. And I've heard plenty of stories from developers. And so I was very glad for all of the devs there that they were having such a successful weekend. How do you want to do this, Jeremy? Because there was so many. I've kind of narrowed down the list of things I've played. So, what do you want to do?
Well, I've got as many as we want to talk about here.
Oh God! Okay, I do not have as many as we want to talk about here.
Because I played a ton. Let's start with the ones from day 3 because I've spoken a little bit about some of the ones from day 2.
Yeah, you can find that on
our TikTok.
And we've gone through the AAAs.
Yeah, and we've gone through AAAs. There was about half of these were from the NZ booth because I got to spend some time there on the Sunday because there was a lot more room. I'm
actually quite jealous that you made it to. Which one are you going to talk about first?
The first one I'm going to talk about is Rose and Locket.
Yes, I thought you might. And I'm very jealous that you got to play it because I waited there in that last hour and I didn't get the chance.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to hear what you have to say because just watching it from the sidelines, it looked fucking stunning.
Yeah.
And everyone was buzzing about it.
It is. So Rose and Locket is a 2D side-scrolling gunslinging action game. where you are I won't go into the story too much because I think it'll be cool to sort of get that from playing it, but like you're playing as a cowboy who her name is Rose, and you are basically in a very, very stylized world, like really like contrasting colors, a lot of really incredible use of silhouettes and black and white visuals.
From what I saw, it was lots of black, white, and then 2 or 3 very vibrant colors. Backgrounds and effects.
Like that is what it looks like. It was speaking to the developers, it was very heavily inspired by the comic art of Mike Mignola, who is famous for Hellboy, for example, and something else as well. Mike Mignola, also well known for like a lot of DC stuff, and Judge Dredd as well. I believe is a Mignola joint. Rose and Locket is one of the coolest games I played all at PAX. It was so fun. The actual the gunplay itself was really cool. It was like you're walking around with one stick and you're aiming with the other stick and firing with the trigger. It was being developed by a studio called Whistling Wizard. It is just so atmospheric. The music and the audio was really cool. It was just fucking awesome. It was so cool.
Jeremy, I don't know if you want to do this for this part of the show, but if you want to get a trailer up, I've just posted it in our Notion page in the topic of the show section.
It'll take me too long to
I didn't know if your scenes were set up.
Yeah, so, like they are, but like it'll be too much of a hassle to
all good.
Put through.
No worries.
It is really cool. I definitely recommend people checking out that game. It was just.
Do they have a slated release date for that one yet?
Nothing worth like aiming, like nothing worth considering. They're like
nothing worth mentioning. Yeah,
like it on their Steam page it says coming soon.
Okay.
But
it looked absolutely gorgeous. Like the use of color and as you said, contrast and silhouettes was really striking. Like having so few colors on the screen, like, and still showing as much information as they were showing. Like I was watching the boss fight at one point.
Yeah.
And there were things coming off the side of screen, and the screen was kind of like 20% black, like surrounded by a border of like blackness. And these things were coming in from that blackness, but while they were going through, they were white. They were these coffin projectiles, and they were white against the black background. But then when they came in to the actual gameplay space, which was mostly on red backgrounds, the coffins turned black once they came out. So they had this sort of like bright white to pitch black contrast as they went through, but they had this crucifix symbol or cross symbol, I guess, on the front that didn't change color on. And like just that watching with the jumping and shooting the boss, and it's talking to you at the same time. Like I was like, there's a lot going on here, and I can't hear any of it, and it looks amazing.
There's another on their Steam page. It also lists another inspiration, which I did think about this, but I didn't actually think to bring it up. But it actually says it here. Also inspired by Genndy Tartakovsky, who is the creator of Samurai Jack, Dexter's Laboratory, and the original Star Wars: The Clone Wars animated series, the 2D animated one from the early 2000s. Really like incredible style from everything Tartakovsky. So that also makes a lot of sense considering that this has that same kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It rules. It was just an absolute fucking blast to play.
Yeah, I am glad you got to play it and speak to it on the show. Can we talk about one of the ones I played in the NZ booth?
I think I know which one this is.
Up to Par.
Yeah.
Which I heard about, again, from one of the Explosion Network guys on Friday night. It was on Saturday morning. It's a It's a golf game. It's a mini golf game. It's a roguelite mini golf game. And also they gave us this little, I don't know how this is going to travel, but they had these really cute, not business cards that you assemble, which I assembled at home, made out of wood and lots of mini parts. And it's a little putting green with a little flag that's falling over in the hole, and also a little wooden ball that I definitely can't let my cats eat because it's a bit small, but it's very cute. And that they just handed me this little thing, and on the back, it's got the website. It's very cute, but that's not why we're talking about it. We're talking about it because the game's really cool and really fun.
It is really cool.
There's a demo out right now that has online multiplayer enabled for co-op and like competitive play, which is amazing, plus single player.
Solo dev.
It's a solo dev. They're doing a great job. It's got a great sense of style. You can change your balls, lots of different things. But the main conceit of the game is you start a round with 3 shots. If you get to 0 shots, then you lose. Every time you complete a level, you gain 3 more shots. And so the idea is you want to obviously not die. You want to get through the levels while not dying. But you actually want to get there in as few shots as possible, not just because it's golf, but because every 6 levels you get to a store.
Yeah.
And then you can spend those excess shots that you've earned as currency in the store to buy upgrades that save your ball if it goes out of bounds and doesn't spend the shot, or enlarges the hole at the end of the level if you get close enough to it. And like there's all that kind of thing, because every 6 levels you start back again at 3 shots, so you kind of either have to spend it or leave it in the shop. And it also ramps up the difficulty and changes the biome every 6 levels. And like that's really that's the long and short of it. It's great to see a roguelite that isn't like a really punishing action game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like a fast-paced racing game or something like that. Like it's not about like kinetic movement or gunplay or reaction speed. It's just golf.
Yeah. And
like there's bridges that go up and down and some intense angles. Like it gets hard.
Yeah, like it does what all good mini golf games do, which is like make like the courses are like, zany and have a whole lot of weirdness. But yeah, no, it was really good. I really loved this game. It was so fun. I want to play it more. Like it was really cool.
No,
yeah,
me too. And like the thing that's so cool about it is that like because it's got that roguelite hook, but it isn't so frenetic, it could actually be like quite relaxing. Like a relaxing version of that one more run kind of thing, without being like, oh, I wasn't good enough. Like there's a bit of that, I guess, but it could be like, oh, I was close. It's like it's just golf. It's not Hades. It's not like, Tartarus, you got me again. He's not a boss, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very chill, very fun, great art style. I love the many different balls you can be. Like you could be a lime, or you could be a ball of leaves, or a paper ball. And the thing that was great about those was it wasn't just like textures on a sphere. It changed the model as well. And I don't think it would affect the gameplay.
No. Just visually change the model.
Yeah, but it did great things. Like I played a second round and it started me off as a peach, and then when I got the ball in the hole, it split into like 7 peach segments. It was very pleasing, very satisfying to do, and like that's just one bespoke design that they had. So yeah, it was great fun. I didn't speak to the developer, but their partner was there helping them at the booth, and they were lovely, and they were doing a great job. They were fielding people all weekend.
Yeah. Like the studio is run. The studio is called It's Anecdotal. Run by a guy named Philip. I had a quick chat to him. He was really lovely. He made a game which I had actually played in the past called 39 Days to Mars.
I did hear about that, but it wasn't familiar to me.
Yeah, it's like a co-op like a little adventure game, which I played once before. It's also quite cool. But yeah, I really like this game as well. It was really, really cool.
What's next for you, Jeremy?
Look, sticking with the NZ booth, I played a game called Adaptory.
Adaptory.
This is a 2D base building exploration game. And survival game. Kind of like RimWorld or kind of like side on Dwarf Fortress a little bit.
Okay.
Where you've got you've got a group of characters. They crash land, they're on a spaceship and they crash land on a planet. And it's all grid based, and you basically, dig down a little bit, and then you can build a base, and you tell the group to do actions as a whole, and they do stuff, and then you can automate them to do certain things. You're really good at mining, you're really good at tending to crop, and you're really good at pumping water or whatever.
This looks very oxygen not included, or
kind of like that. The game is really good. It was really interesting. What actually made me really consider this game quite a lot was that there's all of the characters are randomly generated, and they've all got randomly generated perks. And I had a quite a decently meaty chat with the narrative designer of the game, because this game didn't immediately scream narrative designer to me. But they have a dedicated narrative designer who is currently getting her PhD. And we had a chat about how I was like, what's a narrative designer do on a game like this? And she was like, well, we're building, systems so that the characters will actually talk and interact with each other. And our hope for the future is that they will have animations that actually reflect the characters' personalities and quirks that they might have, or little habits they might do in a more idle sense. And they will the way the game works is that they also have all the characters have individual journals where they are writing what they're thinking and feeling at that time, and they're systemically building this immersive sim-esque kind of little immersive sim world-esque thing where characters are doing their own thing and enjoying doing what they're doing, and then being emotionally feeling things as they do things they do or don't like, or have interactions with the other characters that they do or don't like. For example, if one of the characters dies, they the rest of them will feel quite melancholy. But they will also be quite unhappy if they are not doing the task that they are good and interested in. But that also is determined by, you get a character bio, and depending on where they're from can determine a lot of the things that they are really into. If they're from all the locations where they're from are fictional. But there might be a planet that one of them is from that is really known for people who are really into harvesting crop and cooking food maybe. And so if that person isn't the cook, they're probably not going to be having as good a time, and they'll reflect that in their journal and all that stuff. It was really interesting to have someone dedicated to that on a game like this, which I think
especially with that much proundom generation and
procedural
unknown
generation, but all of that stuff systemically interacting with itself. It was really cool.
Sounds very ambitious and very exciting.
Yeah. I had on top of that, the actual gameplay itself was quite fun. I was setting up solar panels on my spaceship, and I'd across the four crew members that I had, I only built one bed, and so but they all wake up at roughly the same amount of they all wake up at the same time. And they were all kind of sharing the tasks at that point, which was fun, because it made that they were very efficient. But then one of them went to bed, and the others didn't have a bed to go to, so they sort of kept on working. And I was moments away from breaking through the rock to reach the vacuum of space, because I needed to install a solar panel. And they can kind of hold their breath out there for a little bit, enough to sort of build something, then run back through the doors. And so I got them to build the tunnel up to where the vacuum of space were. And 3 of them just collapsed on the floor, and I went, "Oh,
they were exhausted."
I was like, "Oh fuck, they died." And I sort of looked at the person running the demo. I'm like, "I think I killed like 3/4 of my crew by mistake." And they looked at them and like, "Oh no, they're just sleeping."
No, he's rested.
Well, like I thought they were joking because I'm like, "Oh right, they're sleeping because they're dead." But like, no, they were all exhausted. So all 3 of them collapsed all at once.
Yeah.
And then I looked over at the 4th one, and they are having the most peaceful snooze in their bed.
Completely oblivious.
Yeah, completely oblivious. And so they woke up fully rested and totally fine well before the other 3 woke up.
Yep.
But that was quite funny. That game's also probably going to come next year. And developed by Stormcloak Games. So yeah, that one was also quite cool.
Sweet. Awesome.
What's up for you?
I spoke about this game to everyone I saw.
Yeah.
And it's a game that's out already.
Yeah.
And it's a game that was nominated at the AGDAs this year. It's called Spin Rhythm XD. It's a new rhythm game. Well, again, it's not that new because not only is it out already, but it's actually been out in early access for like maybe years at this point.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's been at previous PAXs, and I'd never heard of it until I walked onto the show floor on Friday. I felt like I've had my head in the sand because it was like, oh, it's been nominated for this and they're cool for that. It's like, oh yeah, I saw that last year. I'm like, why have I not heard of this game? So it's a rhythm game. It's not like DJ Hero or Guitar Hero. You can play it with a controller. You can play it with a keyboard. You can actually play it with a DJ MIDI turntable, which they had set up at the booth, which was part of why it kind of hooked my attention. But the way it works is you've got like a tube in the center of your view, and there's kind of a highway coming down this tube towards you. And you've got a ring right in the center that alternates blue and red segments. And you have to match the notes to the blue or red segments as they come down the line. Tapping notes, catching smaller ones, just making sure you get it in the right thing. You don't have to hit the button every time. The big ones you tap and hold. There are rings that you press with another button, and then you have to spin the ring when arrows that point left or right come past, and it's a really nice, satisfying flicking motion on the screen, and actually in real life too, whether you're on controller or on mouse or on that turntable. I played it on Friday, and this is another one. It had people all weekend. I played it on Friday. There were people waiting for the turntable controller, but I just jumped on the controller, the PS5 controller.
Yeah.
And man, I started on hard, but it was so fun. Their soundtrack is excellent. Yeah. I went and looked at their trailer afterwards. They've got complete ability to add custom songs and modifiers to their set list, which is excellent. Inbuilt like that is so valuable. But yeah, the effects are incredible, and what they were nominated for in the AGDAs was for accessibility. So they've got an excellent suite of color modes and accessibility options and stuff like that. But the colors you see, it's so vibrant. There's so many excellent effects. The soundtracks are amazing, and while I was bad at it, I didn't want to stop playing at it, despite being bad at it. Like there was no like Guitar Hero fail state, like boo. Like there's none of that. It was just getting better at it and enjoying the song at the same time. And as soon as I played it on Friday, I was like, I am buying this game as soon as I can. And like I need to finish all the PAX stuff that I've got done. And then as soon as that's done this week, I am buying this game and I'm going hard on it. That is what is happening. I'm so excited. And so on the Saturday, I did get to play the turntable controller. And that was excellent in different ways. Some parts of it felt way more natural. Other parts felt less natural than the controller. Because there's far less feedback on the actual wheel, because it's very smooth, because it's like a proper professional piece of kit. It was quite hard to actually tell how far I was going to turn the ring on the screen to catch the different colors with my motion, with my movement. And so like it's probably something you can calibrate, but that was a bit off for me. So I felt like I was catching up the whole time. But aside from that, which is quite a fundamental part, but aside from that, all of the other components like tapping to hit the buttons on the surface, tapping on the other wheel to get the other rings, and the flick, especially the arrow to flick it to the side, it felt so good, and it made me feel like really kinetic and like put me in the song a bit more. You know, it got my body literally moving a bit more, which is cool. You could do that with the mouse controls, where you could flick with the mouse, you know, if you've got enough room for that. And so that's a cool way you can do that at home without a piece of equipment that's hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how much it is. I know it's out. Let me look it up right now, because I'm very curious. It's $25. It's got a supporter pack. It's got a demo. It's got DLC. It's coming out on Switch soon. If it played really well on the PS5 controller, if it runs well on Switch, then I can see that being an excellent way to pass the time handheld. It's just such a fun time.
Yeah, but
did you get to play it?
The stick drift, no.
Oh, the stick drift. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I fixed my stick drift, but if you're still dealing with that, that's just going to affect everything in it.
I also feel like if you're gonna I feel like you'd want to play this on PC so you can add custom sounds though as well.
That's the thing. Yeah, I did consider it though, because I love the idea of sitting there and just having that experience just fucking whenever I want. That sounds amazing.
Sounds like you got to buy a Steam Deck.
Well, I would probably just buy the $25 game twice. Rather than a $1,000 handheld. Kids these days.
Yeah.
Did you get to play it?
I didn't this year. I remembered I have played this game, I think 4 or 5 PAXs ago. I think in like a 2018 or a 19.
Yeah. Wow.
It's been a PAX for quite a while now.
Yeah.
I think it's been a PAX since 2017.
Yeah, that's so long. Yeah. I asked the devs. They said they've been working on it for 7 years.
Yeah. I think it's been in early access for the past 2 or 3.
Yeah, and it launched into 1.0 in like April or June this year, so it's been a few months.
Yeah. The developers on that one are Super Spin Digital, which is a
great,
cool name.
And great for this game too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that was not a surprise to anyone except myself.
Right. The next game I've got, this one was actually in the New Zealand area, just for something different for me. This is a game called Criminals Within.
I didn't see this one.
This was a 2-player co-op only adventure game, or like action adventure game, where you are like a knight whose name I've forgotten. Let me just quickly go through the Steam page to see if I can find the names of the characters. You are a knight who has freed a thief, who lives in a world where there were dragons, or the dragons have since become closer to animals like dogs and like cows and stuff. They're like
they're domesticated.
Yeah, like we've basically domesticated the dragons. And so the knight has freed the thief, or the swashbuckling kind of guy, because he was put in jail by the villain of the game for because he was framed because the villain of the game wants to bring back the old dragons, the full dragons that we expect them to be.
Right.
The knight's name is Helena. The thief's name is Jarrell. This game looks like a Pixar movie.
I'm looking at a reveal trailer now, and it's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, with a level of fidelity, but also with its animation, with its vibrancy, with its colors, with its design of the world and the creatures and the people. It was a really impressive looking game. And then when I was playing it with Luke from Checkpoint. The dialogue was really funny. The voice acting was great. The puzzles were really fun. The combat style between the two characters were quite different. It follows the structure of basically you'll enter a level and there'll be some corridors with some little offshoots where there might be a chest or something, and then there'll be a puzzle where you sort of got to get the head of a statue over to the body of the statue, and then you'll do things like Helena the knight has a shield and she can hold her shield up, and Jarrell can jump on the shield to get a higher jump.
Yeah, nice.
there was a lot of like you stand on this platform and I'll run over there because then there's a button I can stand on which will open a door that you can go through that will then wrap around to another door, and okay, where do we go? Like, then let's do that again, but the other way, because then I got to run over there and then boost you up to that final jump or whatever. There's a lot of
Does it give you Portal vibes, Jeremy? Portal co-op vibes?
Not quite Portal co-op, probably closer to something like A Way Out. Which is what they like. Look, that was what they said was inspired. Like what inspired the game, like the games like the Haze Light games. It wasn't quite Portal because it was like the co-op was asynchronous. It was definitely different for each character, whereas in Portal they are like identical. And then and then their characters will then they will banter a bit, but like the writing was actually like, it was good. Like I was really enjoying listening to it. I wasn't, like, oh my God, they're talking again. How annoying. Like I was sitting here and then like in a PAX setting with, dinky little headphones, like actually like listening to what they were saying and really enjoying it. Yeah. Partly also because, like I said, the performances the voice actors gave was really good. Mm-hmm. There was no release date for this one. But it would be a really, really enjoyable way to spend. I think 8 hours, I think, is roughly what they said they were aiming for, because they know that it's, one, hard to play a really long game with someone else, and two, hard to organize playing a really long game with someone else.
Yeah, no shit.
So
I mean, it sounds like they're designing it quite like there's a lot of intentional design there, and that takes a while to make.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, it was really fun. It was really, really fun.
That definitely sounds great.
Let me just double check to make sure it is local. I want to say they said local and online co-op, but maybe don't hold me to that. It was
that would be good.
It was really good. That was developed by Space Rock Games. Also another New Zealand developer.
Good developer names this year.
Yeah. Oh, like honestly, every year, like every developer name for the most part is quite good. It's usually animal related, but yeah.
Yeah, it needs to. I'm kind of over sloth developer names, but that's fine. That's a me problem.
Yeah.
Jeremy, did you want to talk with me on this one about Hissy Fit, or is that not on your list?
Hissy Fit was not on my list.
Okay.
I didn't play Hissy Fit.
Well, that'll be why it's not on your list. Yeah. Hissy Fit is a mobile game that's coming out 2024 on Apple first. Android maybe after that. So I don't know when you're going to play it on what platform. Well, it'll be Apple first. I don't know when though. Point is though, this game was very fun. It had such a cool art style. You play. It's a mix between Katamari and Snake.
Right.
And also this old mobile game I used to play where you used to like put these modules together, but I can't remember what it's called. But basically you start off as a gigantic snake and you eat like people and fences and houses and trees and cars and tanks and you get bigger the more people you eat. But you're fucking gigantic at this point. You become the size of a town. And the mode I played was all about becoming big enough to or completing certain objectives. So it was like eat 10 civilians. And you did that. But there were also zombies running around and they could eat you. And if they ate you enough, they just like cut you in half where they like got onto you, and that was bad for your like size and what you could eat.
Right.
And it was like, break 10 houses, and so you had to get big enough to then break them. The bigger you got, the more easier it was to break these houses, tip them over, and turn them into like voxels. And
nice.
You had different power ups for the different types. There was a snake. There was there was like a sausage dog. Like they all played the same, but they were different power ups. I don't remember what the third one was, but it was just easy, silly fun. Like it wasn't anything groundbreaking in terms of the gameplay, but the art was really fantastic. A really good 3D art style.
Cool.
and the objectives they gave you were really good, and they had me rushing to each one so I didn't run out of time. I think at that point for the day I got the highest score on that one, which was like surviving for like 6.5 minutes. And something fun was they were handing out instead of business cards, they were handing out little things with a QR code on them, but this was a holder for a little bag of snakes,
right?
Of like 3 like Allen's snakes or something. So they were like, "Oh, thanks for playing. Here's some snakes." And I played that on Saturday when I was dead to the world. So that was a fucking lifesaver, let me tell you what. No, but the game's really fun. I tried finding a trailer for it the other day to show Sam when I got home, and I just couldn't find one.
Yeah, right.
So I hope they post something soon because it looks great and it plays great and it's fun and it is coming soon. So look out for Hissy Fit. Actually, while you talk about your next game, Jeremy, I might scan this QR code and see where it sends me.
Right. The developer was called Panda Arcade, so I would
Panda
assume
Arcade, cool.
I'd assume it would go there. The next game I've got is did you want to talk about Broken Roads?
So yeah, Broken Roads. I did a little preview for. Got to play half an hour for with a media appointment, and we got to speak to Leanne, the narrative designer of the game, which was great. She was great to talk to. Had interesting answers to our questions. You also were talking a bit with her about like how I would like choose my character at the start, which was funny to hear.
Yeah, like because I'd played the game before, I didn't go to the interview. But basically we went to the appointment together, and I said like, you drive because I've played it, and so I just like spoke to her while you were playing, just to sort of like make small talk, but also like just get like a greater understanding of like what their last year has been, because I played it last year, and turns out that it's been everywhere since then. They took it to Gamescom, and this very Australian studio called Drop Bear Bites is founded by 2 South Africans, and the lead writer is in Canada, and it's a game set in WA.
Yep, it's very funny how they brought it all together. But it's a CRPG, so the genre which you would know from Divinity Original Sin 2 or Baldur's Gate, some of the most critically acclaimed ones. But it's set in Western Australia. Oh, Disco Elysium, yeah. It's set in Western Australia, 100 years after the apocalypse, so post-apocalypse, sort of getting on with it. Great voice acting.
Yeah.
Not fully voice acted, but enough that it's keeping me in there so that I'm not getting bored when I'm going through the dialogue. Great Aussie voice actors. You can tell, because you can always tell when it's bad, and it's just not here, which is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I am actually going to write a full preview for this myself this week. So I am basically just... Also, I need to play the demo a bit more because despite playing it for about 20 or 25 minutes on the show floor, it gave me 10 minutes with my character and 15 minutes in the character creator.
Well,
that was like...
They didn't give you 15 minutes in the character creator. You stayed there for 15 minutes.
I wasn't... No, I'm not saying they like gave me that time, but that is to say, like, you know, doing that on the floor, that's how long it took. And I wanted to have an understanding because they've actually got some really complex and unique systems in the game, like this morality compass, which helps you define your character and your character's choices. Instead of it being like a Paragon Renegade sort of system, blue and red, it's you're fighting between humanist, utilitarian, Machiavellian, and nihilist, and that's on a wheel. And like nihilist borders Machiavellian and utilitarian, and so you can have one that sort of borders on, but you can have a decision or a choice or a dialogue option that sits on the border of one of those, or it's like a lightly utilitarian one or a very strong utilitarian decision. And depending on how you play your character in the game, it defines your choices. It defines your character basically. And you can choose other things, but not always.
It was funny bringing up the Paragon Renegade as an example of other games' morality, sliders, basically, to the developer, and like she, like I could see like like just behind her eyes, her being like, yes, ours is so like ours is so much more interesting than that. Like that like I remember I
get it.
Like she kind of like she rolled her eyes not at me but at the other game.
That's the system.
Which was so great. She also told me that was the reason she came on board with the project, was because the system that they have, that compass, she was so interested by that was the thing that brought her onto the project, which was really cool.
Yeah, and it's absolutely fascinating. Plus, playing a game set in Australia, you instantly have me. You've got me.
Right.
Like, I'm in. Like, it happens so rarely. Like, it was such a delight with Florence to be playing a game set in Melbourne, So, yeah, while I'm not familiar with WA landmarks, I am very excited to get stuck in.
Have I got this game series for you, Kerry? AFL Live, AFL Live 2, AFL Premiership, AFL Championship.
Boo.
So funny.
So yeah, that's all I'll say on that one for the show. I'm very excited to get to the demo.
Sorry, but I'm on the Wikipedia page for video games set in Australia, and one of them is listed as DC Universe Online.
What?
As is like Harry Potter and Gundam Side Story Rise of Ashes.
Okay.
Cool.
I guess Overwatch should probably be in there too, because they've got maps in Australia.
Overwatch and Overwatch 2 are indeed listed, as is every Formula 1 game, because the Phillip Island track, I'm sure, is in there.
That doesn't count. I want a game set in Australia.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So yeah, look for that review. That'll be up this week. I'll write that out. We'll have some of Leanne's answers as part of that interview, part of that preview as well. So look for that one once I've played the demo and put a bit more time into it, sunk my teeth into the gameplay. All I could take away from the gameplay was that my character was a shit shot.
That was so funny.
I was trying over and over and over. He kept missing.
Well, like I'll bring this up, maybe, unless you have any more games, because I sort of don't, and we're almost about to. Okay. I'll bring this up really quick then, just about how and
also regarding HissyFit, that QR code takes you to hissyfit.game. So if you want to find out more about that, go to hissyfit.game.
Right.
We'll see what that looks like.
When we were chatting while you were playing the game, like you said, we were discussing. Well, like basically, she asked me like, what do you think Kerry's gonna choose? And I looked at the options between like utilitarian and humanitarian and Machiavellian and nihilist, and I was like, well, I think Kerry's going to do a pretty even mix of humanitarian and utilitarian, because I know Kerry and I know how he plays games, and he does not enjoy being a Machiavellian or being nihilistic.
No,
and I was watching you make decisions, and I was watching you mouse over each of the individual options and reading them out, and
they do a good thing in the intro where they're like, here are 6 scenarios, read through them, what do you do? And they give you one choice for each of them, and then they sort of give you here's where you land on the compass. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. And I saw you consider every single option, and then you promptly just went like humanitarian, utilitarian very quickly.
Yep. And I don't think I chose any of the other ones.
No, you didn't. And then what she told me, which I think is really awesome, and I implore you to play the game like this. By default, I believe, maybe not by default, I think by default, where on the compass the options lie is by default hidden. So you just get 4 options, and then you get told where you sit. So you don't know.
Oh, so it doesn't. So when we were playing the demo, when you were given an option, it said before the words humanist, nihilist, Machiavellian. Right. Okay. Yes, I would love to play it like that, where I just choose the right option for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you should. You should endeavor to look in the options prior to playing the demo, just to make sure you can find that setting and turn it off.
I really appreciate you telling me that. Yep.
Because when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, that's the best. I love not knowing where I am on the compass. I love not.
That's like Fallout or like Dragon Age, but with a more complex underlying system, rather than being like this choice makes this decision.
Yeah. Yep. So you should definitely do that.
Yeah, no, I will. Thank you for telling me that. So in terms of other games, there were plenty I played. Let me just find my notes here. I got to get away from hissyfit.game. Yeah, a couple of quick shout outs. I played Grist, which is a developed by a solo developer. It's a bit early, and it's looking to be quite complex, but that was that game, Jeremy, if you saw it, that had like ASCII art where there's like enemies made up of like ASCII, like, or just like DOS characters.
Yeah.
But it's like developed in Unity, so it's like it looks old, but it's a bit more modern than it looks. I'm excited to see it in like a year's time when, not like the aesthetic is evoking that old thing.
I know.
You can use your mouse and like.
I know, but the implication from that sentence was that they might have actually brought a DOS game, and I'm sitting here going, like, well, I mean, no, they're not going to bring a DOS game.
No. Yeah. So yeah, because of how complex their systems were, like it reminded me when I saw it at first. It reminded me of like FTL, where you're going from like encounter to encounter. But I said, is this like FTL or like Slay the Spire, where you're constantly moving forward, or are you just let go into the world? And they're like, no, you let go into it, and then you can like pick contracts like Armored Core, and I was like different clients will hire you, and then you can explore this world with these contracts. So it looks quite open in that very simple setting. So I'm excited to see it in a little bit when it's a bit more fleshed out. Another game as well. I have to shout out. Which one was it? The Hamster's Journey. Having the best grappling hook on the show floor.
Yeah.
It was so good. Developed by a good friend of ours, Shane, who's been on the show before. Has been on our mini disc podcast.
Yeah. Disclaimer, like a literal friend of the show.
Yeah, like very literally a friend. So take what we say with a grain of salt. But this felt really good. Had an excellent art style, really good animation. It's like a level-based runner where you get different power-ups and you have to escape this like molten wall of death. But when you die, you just get sent back to the home screen by being like shot into it. So that was very fun. I bought a Steam key for that to support them. But yeah, there was 2 more games that I really wanted to mention from the indie side. One of them was Necograms, which has been out for a while. It's on phones. It's coming out on Steam, or it's out on. I think it's on phones and it's coming out on Steam and Switch.
Right.
And I was standing there and I was waiting for like the booths to free up, and someone was like, "Oh, hi, do you want to play our game?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, sure, I'm just waiting." And then they handed me a Switch Lite, and I was like, "Whoa, cool, yeah, sweet." But it's a simple puzzle game. It's got 120 levels. It's $3. Like I told Sam about it, showed them the trailer. They already bought it and have been playing it this weekend, which is great. But it's a simple grid-based puzzle game where at the end of the level, you have to get the number of cats that are on the screen under a cushion. They all need to be under a cushion. And they can be a cat that's like 1 tile big, or like a sausage cat that's like 2 tiles or 3 or 4 or 5 tiles big, which is very funny. And all of the cats have to be under cushions. The cats can move side to side, and the cushions can move up and down. And that's it. And then you hit obstacles and stuff like that. But the way they move and trying to get it done in a certain number of moves to get the 3-star each time is actually really engaging. It sounds simple, but it's complex enough to really drive a lot of content. They're coming out with more content next year. And it was just straight up great fun, great puzzles, great design. It's just something I highly recommend to anyone who's a fan of good puzzle games, especially for a mobile experience as well. If you want to play that on your phone, it's excellent.
Yeah.
And then maybe my indie game of the show, at least, was a game called Cadomon. This, Jeremy, did you see this one? Did you play this one?
I don't know. I didn't play it.
This is an auto battler.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I did see this.
So this game reminded me a lot of Super Auto Pets, the only auto battler I've played. However, it is a bit more complex than Super Auto Pets, which has sort of distilled that formula from like Teamfight Tactics down very, very, very bare bones. It's also PvP all the time. You're always facing other people in Super Auto Pets.
Yeah.
Cadomon is a mixture of Teamfight Tactics or whatever.
Yeah.
An auto battler mixed with Pokemon mixed with Slay the Spire.
Right.
So you get a team, all of your pets, well, they're not pets, they're Kadomon, they're Pokemon knockoffs. Quite openly, but that's fine. It's the direct inspiration. They all have 2 types, like Pokemon usually do. Like, so these always have 2 types. So electric and water, and ice and ground, and plant and bug, and whatever. And the more Pokemon or Kadomon you have of a type, the more bonuses you get of that type. So if you've got plenty of grass Pokemon, you start around with a healing regeneration effect every time. So you can have that team composition like that, but then that will make you weak to fire types. So then you got to try and balance that with your Pokemon. Adding adding the types on top of the auto battling experience instantly made it very, very complex, and it made my brain light up. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to make this? Like, I'm sitting there at the desk, I'm like, oh, I got rocked this game. Why did that? I was like, oh, my type, they counted my team. Like, I wasn't typed right for that team. You can choose the environments you go to. The more pets the more Katamon you find and fight who are the same as the ones that you have in your team, you can add them to your team, which then can help them level up, to help them evolve, so that instead of them just being like level 1, level 2 characters, they become like, like it's like Charmander, what's the next? Charmeleon and Charizard. It's like they evolve. They become different. They've all got unique names. They've all got unique art styles and animations. There's so many different combinations of the types. You can modify your characters and give them a 3rd type, which can, it adds strengths. It adds weaknesses. It's so multi-layered from the like 10, 15 minutes I played. I was like, whoa, it's being developed by a solo dev in Adelaide, who hires contractors as needed. So, but yeah, and they were just at Gamescom with this as well, which I thought was very impressive for a solo developer. So I'm very excited to play it. It's got a demo out now, and I'm so excited to really sink my teeth into it, because it absolutely lit my brain up with the possibilities of how complex and engaging this gameplay could be. And also, it's single player. So you're going against other teams, but they're generated as part of the environments you go through, and it's more of a single player experience, which is a bit more appealing to me. You're not constantly dealing with playing against like the meta of the newest update or whatever. So yeah, that was a very strong highlight for me, was Kadomon. It's Kadamon, I think. Let me have a look here. Kadamon.
Do you know when that one's coming out?
They're hoping to bring that out early next year.
Right. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
But yeah, the demo is, I think it's what was playable on the show floor, and it's sizable.
Right.
So yeah, I would definitely recommend that to anyone who's played Super Auto Bets or any auto battler, or honestly Pokemon. It's an interesting take on that type of gameplay, of that rock, paper, scissors, fire, earth, rock, fairy, ice, electric typing scenario. It's very good.
Nice. There was a thing about PAX that I did want to bring up.
Oh, please.
And maybe we can sort of end it on that.
Yeah. Do you want to get to Assassin's Creed Mirage, or maybe we could just talk about that in the?
Yeah.
It's getting long in the show.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about that game, but this week is not the week for it.
Yeah. There was a great deal of people at PAX.
Yes.
That were wearing t-shirts.
This was Did you find anything out about this, or you just
like a little bit? But I mostly just kind of want to soapbox for a sec. Look, so
the t-shirts.
So there was a great deal of people at PAX this year wearing
seemingly random people.
Yeah, seemingly random people. Well, okay, so yes and no. There was a great deal of people at PAX this year wearing t-shirts with the word "kick" written on it in green font on the front.
There's a logo. It was Kick.com's logo.
Well, so I think it's important to note that the shirt is just the word "kick" in green text on the front of the logo, because for those who don't know, Kick is a streaming platform, a recent competitor of Twitch, which does like on the box, it does gaming streams and a host of other streams. That is what it is.
They've also got they've got a very appealing revenue split over there as well.
Yeah. It is designed to be a competitor to Switch. A competitor to Twitch. That was the entire reason they showed up, was because they were like, we want to like basically go to war against Twitch, is basically where the game that they've been talking.
Well, do you know where they came from? Do you know how they sprung up?
I do know how they sprung up. They have been funded through a tremendous amount of blockchain shit, casino nonsense, and the NFT kind of they are one of the most lucrative businesses that has come into a side of the mainstream in the past year, basically.
Well, specifically, they propped up within a month of Twitch banning the slots games from their platform.
Yeah.
And they're funded by a slots company.
Yes.
Like that's their genesis. That's their goal.
And what they would do is they would approach large streamers. Like the most well-known they have on their platform is XQC, who is one of the largest streamers like ever.
I think they've got Amaranth as well.
Yeah, they have a handful of very, very big streamers, as well as like a tremendous amount of smaller streamers. And like they would offer them tremendous amounts of money for a non-exclusive contract, is basically how they poached them, was that they could say, hey, you should come and stream on our platform, continue to stream on Twitch, stop being a partner over there, be a partner with us, and we won't stop you actually streaming over there. Depending on what they stream, they will or will not be allowed to stream that content on Twitch as well. For example, XQC loves to stream slots because he's a piece of shit and likes to expose slots to kids, because that's what your audience is. Whether you like it or not, if you're a streamer, a lot of your audience is going to be underage. That is how it works. So Kick has since partnered with more and more terrible people. People like Ice Poseidon, people like Aiden Ross, who is extremely close, speed dial level close with Scum Andrew of the Earth, Andrew Tate.
Yep.
I can finish my sentences, Kerry. It's okay. And suddenly this year, last week or 2 weeks ago, Ice Poseidon and this other guy named Sam or Sammy were in the news in Brisbane because what they did was that they hired a sex worker in Brisbane to a hotel, proceeded to begin to ask for things, while also secretly filming her. And also while people were in the hotel room, even though they said to her over and over again that they were alone, it's cool, don't worry about it. They then
I also feel it's important to mention not just secretly filming, secretly streaming.
Like streaming on Kick. Like
live.
Yes. They then got arrested. They were then released. They then came down to Melbourne. Ice Poseidon and Sammy were at PAX this year. They were around there. They got kicked out of PAX at some point.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And they were making a fuss because they're morons and idiots and freaks and should be realistically like removed from the country for doing stuff like that. They're not from Australia, for those who don't know. Like if you're going to be breaking the law like that, shouldn't be welcome here doing that. So the shirts, there were a lot of shirts of people. There were a lot of people wearing a lot of these Kick shirts, and so I tweeted out like, "Hey, like what?"
It's like one an hour,
Yeah, well, way more than that. I was seeing maybe 1/8 of people there were wearing them. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe like 1 in 10. I was seeing a lot of them. And the thing is, these shirts were free. Is my understanding that they were giving out these shirts, and someone informed me on Twitter that the reason people were wearing them was because someone, whoever was handing these out, whoever that might be, whether or not they are from Kick or not, you can decide if you think that they were from Kick or not. We're saying basically you could allegedly win a $5,000 PC for wearing the shirt at the event. Is what someone informed me about why they might have been wearing them. Now, I don't believe that is actually going to happen for anybody. Considering,
no, neither do I.
Considering
you can't chase that up.
Well, that's the thing. No one was asking for anyone's information though, so good luck winning. Is what another person replied to that person in my mentions. Look, it was a really gross guerrilla tactic. There was some guy who went into the Twitch partner lounge, which I think is a ridiculous thing to exist anyway, but went into the Twitch partner fish tank that was in the middle of PAX and like was waving around a Kick shirt as if, look, I made it in, yeah, blah 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 blah. Like and they're like, I can understand, friendly company rivalry, but the thing is, Kick is not a friendly place. Kick is an actively dangerous place, which allows the worst of humanity to be live streamed.
It gives them a platform.
Yeah, it does give them a platform. And the real reason I'm soapboxing this is because the amount of, parents, kids wearing these shirts, people who don't know what Kick is, people who definitely don't know what Kick is, we're still letting their kids wear these shirts. We're still wearing these shirts. I'm sure there were plenty of people there wearing these shirts who don't know what this platform is. And I think if someone offers you something, I think you have to be an absolute idiot to accept it, not knowing what it is, not knowing what it means, not searching it up, and not finding out that the head of the company of Kick was defending the acts that got people like Ice Poseidon arrested the other day.
Not just defending, like making jokes about.
Yeah,
like in the chat at the time.
Yeah, they were there. They knew what was going on. And so I think to anybody that was wearing one of those shirts, you need to realistically understand what you're doing when you're doing things, because there are people who are, some of the worst of people who are, when you wear the brand on your body of a platform that willingly hosts someone who,
many
someones who have, for example, been arrested in Romania for, human trafficking, Andrew Tate, for lying repeatedly to a sex worker about, I'm not streaming, I'm not filming, things that sex workers do. What are you doing? You need to realistically look at, why is this too good to be true? Why is you offering me this $5,000 PC for wearing this shirt? Who are you? Why are you not at PAX in a professional capacity?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't be allowed there. Because PAX wouldn't allow you to be there. Because PAX kicked out the person who has put this company in the news over the past week. People need to know what they're doing and not just willingly accept gifts, because there's a reason someone on the outskirts of PAX is offering you a gift and not inside of PAX offering you a gift. Fucking morons.
Well, yeah, it's tricky. The thing is that they're taking advantage of people and the situation, right?
Yes.
And it's a scummy tactic. It's promising and not delivering. It's over-promising, especially. I doubt.
I also don't know the legality of that if they haven't actually registered this competition with, for example, the Australian. Yeah, I don't know.
Giveaways are a whole thing. There's divisions of law companies that put their work into just writing giveaway law and terms and conditions, because it's so complex dealing with other countries' jurisdictions and all of that. You can't just do it.
No.
So yeah, no, Kick has always like I said, I've known about them since they started up as being a company that I do not trust, because they are continuing to take advantage of people who are vulnerable to gambling addictions and people who are impressionable to that kind of thing, like underage audiences and everything we mentioned just before when we started this. And them, a rival company who's sort of getting up off the ground, sort of trying to do what they can to get their name out there, I understand. But a company that has this much money that's trying to weasel their way in whatever capacity they can, despite being repeatedly or like quite unequivocally told that they're not welcome. That's really gross. Not only because they were in the news recently, like even just like looking at the money and where it comes from and what their platform is trying to achieve, who they are trying to bring to their platform, what kind of audience they want to gain, and ultimately what they're trying to push, which is people to their gambling platforms. At just a start, I don't even know about their NFT and Web3 shit.
Well, like I don't even think that they even like don't get me wrong, like their gambling stuff will make them a tremendous amount of money. I think at this point they don't like, that's not even like the goal. The goal is to just have enough people on the platform repeatedly, like over and over and over again, just visiting their platform so they can then sell ads to other large right-wing terrible companies. Like they have been targeting specific people for a very long time. Aiden Ross has got like a kick badge in his Twitter profile, like, which means that his Twitter account is like directly associated.
I was like linked with the business.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like a business account. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and he's, he's the next, Andrew Tate, unfortunately. He's one of those guys that's going to radicalize people, going to radicalize, like young men, into becoming, the next of the little Hitlers. Like that is where that goes.
You're right.
They're transphobic, they're homophobic, they're sexist, they're xenophobic. They are the worst of humanity. Like that only funnels in one direction. Like people like Andrew Tate, people like Aiden Ross, like their money comes from a certain type of people. It's very, very easy to figure out where the direction on the political scale that money comes from. It's people who run companies like Stake.com, which is the company that owns Kick.
That's right.
And it will get much worse. That's already bad, and it will get much, much worse. Even XQC, who I think is a piece of shit because he's homophobic and has said terrible shit on stream over and over and over again, right? They gave him $100 million. You don't spend $100 million on anything unless you have a much larger plan.
Yeah, totally. And like I think it's normalized for people when they see that. They're like, oh, Kick's a new platform. They're trying to start a thing, because YouTube and Twitch have been making those own deals for years now. We're used to seeing those headlines in general, like like Ludwig over on YouTube and Ninja and all of that, like huge names. It's a common headline to have seen over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. So they can kind of slip under the radar with that kind of thing. But you're right. If you're not looking at it critically, you can miss those signs of what they're really trying to do there. And it's never looked good.
And I think it's irresponsible now to almost not critically look at anything anymore. Like, we are so far beyond I'm gonna wear a shirt with a logo I don't recognize because someone offered me the potential to win a computer, right? Like, we are so far beyond like a cursory Google will give you these options, right?
That's true. Like, I will say a lot of the people I saw wearing these shirts, they were young.
I know.
Like, really young.
Like, and like, look, the people that are like, for example, in the age range of, let's say, 17 and 13.
21. Lower. Yeah.
Like, look, I understand there's not been a tremendous amount of critical thinking skills developed in those years, and that starts to come as they get a little bit older, provided they don't get radicalized by this company prior to that anyway, which explicitly teach you to not critically think about things. But when you're younger than that, you have to be there with an adult. You can't be there younger than that without an adult. And so it's up to the parents to be doing that critically thinking, that critical thinking, and it's their fault for allowing Andrew Tate adjacent people it's their fault for allowing their children to wear apparel that is directly sponsoring Andrew Tate adjacent people. It is not good enough for them to just go, well, I don't know what that is. Like we're past that as a society.
I can't say I agree with you on this, just because there will be people there who want their kids to go because, you know, they like it and they don't know. Like there are always people like that. I am sure there are people who are wearing that shirt who will disagree with the morals and opinions of the people associated with that brand.
Oh,
but
sure.
I think if anyone's at fault, it's the people taking advantage of everyone who would take one of those shirts uncritically. Like these people accepting the shirts, they didn't make the shirts. They aren't trying to promote the brand. The people giving out the shirts and promoting the brand are the people at fault. They are the ones who are trying to take advantage of these people who don't know any better. And they're the ones who are trying to penetrate an audience that will, again, as you said, not know any better than to support their platform.
Yes, of course. But we can't trust bad faith, like, characters to not do bad stuff and then just go, well, I didn't know. Like that's not enough. Like if you're a parent of a child, you need to be sure, especially in this space, right? Like, you know, there are army people all the time at conventions, right? Like the Australian military used to have a presence at PAX. There were stalls at conventions. I don't exactly remember if it was PAX or if it was Comic-Con or Supernova. I don't exactly remember. That was selling like Nazi adjacent paraphernalia as a part of like, hey, like look at this cool military stuff that we sell. And then they got kicked the fuck out. And like, you know, like, but it's one of the things where it's like, how did it make it this far?
Yes.
And the reason there were a bunch of kids wearing kick shirts is because it made it that far, and more people need to be like open and apparent with that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think you're right. I think what this particular event, what Kick's presence at PAX shows us is that it is, you are right. We are past the time of being able to trust someone with that kind of behavior. Like you cannot just do that.
It's the beginning of an infiltration.
That's a shame. That sucks.
Yeah, like it does suck, and it's the beginning of an infiltration, because then what they do next year is they go, well, like, you know, like they will approach PAX, for example, and be like, hey, like we want to have a presence there, and they're like, no, we don't want to give you a presence there, and they're like, well, look at all the people who wore our merch to your thing, or look at all the images that you're hosting on your website that has people wearing our merch. That is the easiest way to get like a sense of legitimacy, is for the Herald Sun, which is already a dog shit newspaper, to take a picture of a bunch of people at PAX saying, you know, like with their regular, like the latest in video gaming, you know, news. Yeah. And they post a bunch of people, or they do off the street interviews, and it's people wearing Kick merch. And suddenly it's all over Australia. It's a virus. That's what that is.
It's bad. I hope it doesn't get that far. I'm not convinced it will necessarily get further because of this, but that they are trying to do that with this action is concerning. This was like alarming, and it's bad.
Yeah, this was like just the first time they've done it.
Yeah.
First PAX, next, you know, Comic-Cons and other large gaming conventions, and, you know, here's my call. Between now and the end of next year, the next person to run on stage at the Keeleys will be wearing a kick shirt.
Yeah, maybe.
What's the bet that kid who did it that first time would be wearing a kick shirt?
Oh, I don't know. That kid's weird. I don't know anything about that guy.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It absolutely sucked. Every time I saw it, I'm like, what the fuck? Where are they all coming from?
And it was always either someone who definitely had no idea what kick was, or someone who definitely knew what kick was. The kind of person.
I mean, that is quite a broad spectrum, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and yet I'm 100% correct.
Yeah, you are. I know what you mean.
Yep. Something in the water over there. I don't know. It's just it makes you something. I don't know. It just doesn't work with the body and the face and everything. It just makes you look weird.
What the fuck? What?
You look ugly if you're a kick shirt. That's how that works. I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, like who's water? Are we talking about Queensland?
No.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a downer note, but you're right. It is important to discuss because it was under the radar. It was surreptitious.
It was fucking everywhere, though. It was so there was so much of it.
Yeah. No, it was gross. However, it was a good rest of the weekend at PAX. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much to everyone who said hi, who greeted themselves, introduced themselves. That's what that says. Who we met, who I got to meet for the first time, like Alex, who's always in the chat, got to finally give them a hug, which is lovely. So yeah, thank you so much for everyone who was there. Thank you to you for listening and to getting to the end of the episode. We really appreciate it. I'm excited for next year as well, Jeremy. And keep looking forward to the rest of the content we'll have going out over the coming week. I'll have a Broken Roads preview out. We've got our Prince of Persia video preview that'll go live tomorrow. Or if you're listening to this on podcast services, it will already be out. You can find all of that on our YouTube channel and on the website minimap.com.au. Jeremy, anything else to say before we wrap up the PAX podcast show?
We're undecided exactly how next week's episode's going to go. It should be fine, but I'm going to be in a different state, so the podcast might be in a different state. That's a different kind of state.
Yes. Worst comes to worst, it may just be we don't live stream it, if we do, then you can't see Jeremy or something. But we could probably get audio.
Look, I should have video. I'm sure I can do a video call from a hotel. I can't imagine in the middle of Sydney CBD that I'd be able to hotel without decent enough internet that I can't video call. But but I don't know. So we'll see. It might just be going on feeds without being live streamed. It might not be. We don't know.
So yeah, look or do not look out for that next week. We'll have something there for you though. Because surprise, surprise, it's still the busiest fucking year in video games. So we have plenty of other things to talk about. Like in a couple of weeks, Super Mario Brothers Wonder is out. Spider-Man 2 is out. Assassin's Creed Mirage has already come out. Lords of the Fallen is this week. Forza Motorsport is this week. We've got more Super Mario RPG and Avatar, and there's all kinds of stuff coming down the pipe. And plenty of stuff we've got to go back to get to as well. So thank you so much for listening. Let me find my outro here so I don't mess it up like I do when I don't look at the intro. I kind of did that. Yeah, if you want to follow us on our socials, if you want to find our YouTube account as well, that's at MiniMapAU. You can follow us individually as well. Jeremy, where can they follow you on the platforms?
At Obi-Wan-Jez.
You can follow me on Twitter at KJPalmer_24 or on Blue Sky just at KJ Palmer, no _24. Like I said before, you can head to minimap.com.au for everything else Minimap related, including our other podcasts like the Mini Disc podcast I mentioned before. Our latest article, what was the preview you did this weekend, Jeremy? What was the name of that game?
That's a wonderful question. Sorry.
Jeremy last week published the Bilkins Folly review, so you could find that there. Dredge was at the show. The review for that is on our website.
Yeah, that's right. I did the Bilkins Folly review the other day. The game that I previewed was called Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days.
Is that it was like a 2D horror game, wasn't it?
Yeah, like 2.5D.
Yeah.
Made by Pickpock is the name of the studio. It was pretty cool. Read about it on the website.
Yeah, so you can find that there. Check back for our video previews, our preview on Broken Roads, and next week for our podcast as well. For those of you that are live with us on Twitch, stick around. We're about to start the post-show. For those of you listening later, please make sure to give us a rating. That's one of those oh-so-tasty 5-star ratings. It helps out a lot. And yeah, if you're around next Monday night, that's what that part of the day is called. We may or may not be live, but if we are, consider coming hanging out. It's a good time. Lastly, if you wanted us to help support us on Patreon, you could do that by heading on over to patreon.com/minimapau. And for $5 you'll get 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the MiniMapCast, plus some extra benefits, all while helping us out significantly. Thank you again so much for getting to the end of the episode and sitting with us. Thanks to everyone we saw at PAX, and have a good week, everybody.